Hey guys, welcome to episode 5 of the M3D live podcast, where we dive into all of the recent golf topics and discussions, everything you guys need to know, and some controversial topics. In today's podcast, we are going to talk about golf robots, selling secondhand clubs, Justin Thomas's most recent win and his performance in his first 250 starts. I am at home at the moment, not out on the course filming like I was in episodes 1 to 4. If you haven't checked those out, please do. Me and my producer Richard have been working very, very hard to bring you guys a lot of golf content recently. We've launched 2 new series. You can check both of them out on my YouTube channel, and please do make sure to like and follow us and comment any thoughts you have below on this podcast. So let's dive straight in. Like I said, I am at home at the moment. I've been dealing with a few little home renovations. Really not my favorite thing in the world. I feel like people fall into one of two categories. They either love home renovations and decorating. I personally don't. I find it really stressful, really difficult to deal with. Makes me incredibly anxious. I quite like the design aspect of it, like more the finishing touches type thing, but trying to organize contractors, painting, what needs to get done, when it needs to get done, how it needs to get done, price, budget, all of these things just stresses me out. It is not very fun to deal with. So I've tried to set up a nice little aesthetic shot if you are watching on YouTube or on video for this podcast, but I can promise you the rest of the house does not look as nice at the moment. Hopefully, my vision is in the future I'll have a nice little podcast recording setup. So if you are watching future podcasts and have come back to listen to this, hopefully you are treated to a nice little golf setup with some nice little golf memorabilia that I've got quite a lot of. But yeah, I need to really set it up in the right way and set up a nice little studio to record in. So, first topic I want to throw out there today, and I feel like this is really taking over the golf industry at the moment, are golf robots. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm talking about lawnmower technology that has recently becoming more and more of a trend in golf to kind of, I don't really know what they're called, but they're basically these robotic lawnmowers. Now, some of you guys might have had them at your club. You might have seen them around. My club recently tested one. I believe it was on loan. I don't think they've bought it. I'm not super sure about how much they cost, but I have to say, it did an excellent, excellent job. It's all automated. It can go through the night. It can maintain kind of a few holes at a time because it has to go back for charging every now and then. And yeah, I have to say, I thought it did a really incredible job. Probably, and it kind of, this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, but it probably did a better job than the greenskeepers. Now, does that mean in the future of golf course maintenance that we are going to have greenskeepers? Maybe at all? I think it's pretty safe to say we're probably not going to need as many of them, because as this technology gets better and better, more widely available, the demand increases, and the supply will increase as well. The price is probably going to drop, and I do think it is probably the future of golf course maintenance. It is really interesting. I think at the moment it's kind of a little bit limited. I think they can't go on certain percentage slopes. So, for example, on the holes that they were testing it out on my golf club, there was a fairway bunker that I think they had to basically map it out so that it didn't go that close. It couldn't mow right up to the edge of the fairway bunker because of the slope it was on. It basically would have been at risk of kind of just sliding into the bunker. Now, that is obviously a huge drawback of this. And it does show that we are probably going to need some sort of greenskeeping staff to deal with things like that. Obviously, at this point, these golf robots are not able to go out there and change the pin flags and cut new cups and do all of that kind of thing, move the tee markers around everything that a normal golf course maintenance person would do. But maybe in the future, who knows? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Have you noticed them? I have noticed that a few really recognizable golf courses, I believe PGA West out in Palm Springs, where they host a PGA Tour event, they have actually bought their own one of these. It looks like it is quite a sophisticated one, so I don't exactly know. Maybe that is able to go on better percentage slopes, on increased percentage slopes. So maybe it is able to mow right up into bunkers. But I have to say, I thought the quality of the maintenance it provided was exceptional. One of the other drawbacks with it is it doesn't actually collect the grass. So basically, it's actually just cutting and dropping the grass where it is. Now, that kind of sounds like it's a bit messy and there's going to be a lot of sort of cut grass shavings everywhere, which isn't great. But what I've been told and my understanding of it is that basically it's only taking, because it's able to work quite regularly, fairways and etc. might not be cut every day by greenskeepers, but because it's able to work quite regularly, it's only actually removing a very, very small cut on the top of the grass and then dropping it there. So it's actually kind of hardly noticeable. Like, we were talking about it when we were on the golf course, and at the time we didn't even notice any cut grass shavings because they were so small and so minute. And so, yeah, basically just completely unnoticeable. So I also think that's probably good for the overall golf course to kind of act as just a general compost, I guess, for the fairways. I'm no expert in golf course maintenance, though. If you have any greenskeepers listening, would love if you reached out and gave your thoughts on this. I'm pretty sure this technology is not going to be very popular with greenskeepers because, you could throw the South Park reference in here, but, they're going to be stealing our jobs effectively. And I do sadly think that, most golf courses in the future, looking 5, 10, 20 years down the line, even more, there's probably not going to be as many greenkeeper jobs in golf as there once was, as this technology continues to develop. Now, one of the other things I've been doing with my sort of house clearance that I've been going through is I obviously work in the golf industry and I have, quite a lot of golf clubs that brands send me and some of the brands I've worked with. And, I've got a lot of stuff piled up and I've just cleared out my spare room, which was just, you couldn't even enter it. It was so full of golf products, some really cool stuff in there, I have to say. But as part of this huge home renovation, I am, trying to sell a lot of second-hand golf products. And it kind of got me thinking, there's not really any great ways of selling second-hand golf products. You've got eBay. That's kind of maybe the most popular. I've been using Facebook Marketplace, but I think there's a lot of drawbacks to that, and there's drawbacks to eBay. And then you've got kind of like your golf bidder type websites where you can, they'll buy pretty much anything off of you, but you're not going to get a very good price for it. You might get half of what it's actually worth, of what you might be able to resell it to someone for, maybe even less than half. So I feel like, and maybe this exists, maybe I'm just not aware of it, but I feel like we need a website or app that specializes in one-to-one selling of golf products, of actually consumer to consumer, basically, or seller to consumer, without the need for a middleman like a golf bidder kind of taking a cut. If anyone's aware of this, I would love to know. If someone started a business like this, maybe it's something I would look at starting in the future. I don't know. I can't really see that for myself, but who knows? How would you make money from it, though? You'd have to charge a small fee. But yeah, it's a little bit like, I feel Facebook Marketplace is what I've been mostly using, and that is primarily because you don't need to ship these products. You don't need to ship them around the country or around the world. And I feel like when it comes to golf products and secondhand golf products, the shipping costs, because you need quite big boxes, they tend to be heavier. So shipping costs can be a bit of an issue. And that's kind of what puts me off selling through like eBay, even though you're opening up to a much wider audience because it's not just people in your area. I actually had a guy come and pick up a few wedges last night, and whilst he was here, he was looking at some of the other stuff I had, some of the putters and whatever, and I was able to kind of upsell him on a few things. He actually ended up picking up from me a bit more than he had originally intended. But I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What do you think is the best way of selling golf products? I personally can't deal with the hassle of selling on eBay for the shipping reasons. I feel like Facebook Marketplace is good, but I completely understand people might not want other people to know where they live and that they have, quite expensive golf products in their house, or you're meeting random strangers. There's the issue of how they pay, cash, direct deposit to your bank. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What are your primary methods on selling golf products? I do feel like we need some sort of dedicated system in place, some sort of dedicated website where, people would fly off the shelves, especially this time of year, getting into the golf season. I've had my products up for sale for a few months, but in the last few weeks, as the weather's gotten better and people are starting to get back out onto the golf course again, I really feel like the products are kind of flying off the shelves, and there's been a huge increase in demand. And I know there's probably a lot of people out there looking for products. I just feel like we don't have the right system in place to really kind of show people what's out there, to show the people, just make it easier to find, basically. Yeah, I think that's probably the simplest way to put it. Now on to our next topic. It is the most recent topic in the golf industry. Justin Thomas just won the RBC Heritage. Absolutely amazing win, finding his form. Obviously, Justin Thomas, I feel like, has been a really big name in golf since, for quite a long time now, considering he's pretty young. He's around similar age to me. I'm 30 years old. I think he might be a year older than me. I know Jordan Spieth is about a year older, and they're similar. But it feels like he's been around for a long time. He obviously played in PGA Tour events when he was just a teenager. And yeah, it really feels like he is a seasoned name in the golf industry, despite, you know, being quite young. He's played 250 starts on the PGA Tour at the moment. And I saw this really interesting chart that showed Justin Thomas's top first 250 starts versus other professional golfers, and it was really interesting to see. Now, Justin Thomas, big name, but he's kind of dropped away at times. He's really struggled with his game. He's not really had a huge amount of consistency. It feels like when he's on it, he is really on it. He holds course records or tied course records at like a dozen of the best golf courses around the world on the tour. He's obviously shot 59 before. It's pretty crazy, some of the golf he has played and some of the rounds he has had, but he's also shot in the 80s and some really high scores at times when he's kind of not been on his best form. And maybe that's what makes him quite interesting to watch. Maybe that's what engages fans, is because he is kind of this roller coaster ride, which I guess you could kind of relate to maybe like a Rory McIlroy, of like unbelievable talent, but at times not performing as well as he should have, or not winning when he should have. So you could make him kind of relatable on that front. In his first 250 starts, 16 wins. Now, that's a really good win percentage, no doubt about it. To compare it to Tiger Woods, I believe this chart said in Tiger's first 250 starts, he had over 70 wins. That is a pretty mind-boggling start. Justin Thomas has 2 majors in those 250 starts, and Tiger had 14 majors in those first 250 starts, which really shows how quickly Tiger Woods just came out and dominated the world of golf. I think it's easy to forget sometimes that he just came out the gates, all guns blazing, winning every single event. he competed in. Like, we consider Justin Thomas obviously a very successful career. To even if he stopped playing now, would that be a Hall of Fame career? 16 wins, two major titles, pretty impressive stuff. Winning, Ryder Cup teams, etc., President's Cup teams. I feel like he's really a staple in the US Ryder Cup team. Has had some huge moments with Jordan Spieth, etc. So big name, big wins. If he stopped here, potentially a Hall of Fame golfer, and yet not even close to the win rate of Tiger Woods. Not even close, not even double or triple or quadruple. That's pretty crazy, those stats. And Justin Thomas is, I believe, a pretty close friend of Tiger Woods. They have had some amazing moments together on the golf course. And, I love watching them both play in the PNC Championship together every year, with Tiger with Charlie, Justin Thomas obviously with his dad, who's obviously coached him from a very, very young age. And yeah, great to see him back into form. I feel like it's really opening up at the moment for this year's major championships. We have kind of Justin Thomas coming back into form. Jordan Spieth played pretty well in the Masters. Rory McIlroy obviously back in the winning circle in major championships. Scotty Scheffler not playing his best, but still performing pretty well and really not far away. Ludwig Oberg winning on tour this year and competing at Augusta. Max Homa even looks like maybe he might be coming back into form. So love to hear your guys' thoughts on who you think will be winning the next few major championships just in a few weeks' time. It feels like we've just finished the Masters and we already have another major in a few weeks. Make sure you follow on the podcast. We will be doing plenty more before that major. I'm trying to do kind of one podcast a week at the moment and produce a lot of other content on YouTube, Instagram, etc. So make sure you guys check that out. But I really appreciate you guys listening and watching. Really does me a favor. Follow along, comment, and I will continue working hard to try and produce more and more content for you guys. So thank you very much for listening, and I will see you guys in episode 6.